Hi, my name is Joana, and today I'm going to talk about the inner child and how to heal the childhood pain. So, 20 years ago, I was diagnosed as seasonal bipolar depressive, but I've been having depressive and hypomanic states since I'm 15, so for the last 32 years. Nowadays is very common, or at least I see more and more people addressing the inner child trauma and its healing. But what I really don't see is examples how to do it. People say how to do it, but in a very theoretical way. So today I decide to give you an example of a trauma that I addressed last year, so 1 year ago. So I'm going to describe the process that I use in this very specific situation. So a year ago I was forced to confront a very old pain that I had when I was 4 or 5 years old. And that pain was linked to my father's alcoholism and how it was dealt for both my mother and my father. And what happened to me, unfortunately, is very common and happens with many other children. Unfortunately, our society is full of people with addictions. In my case, it was the alcohol, but it can be drugs, it can be gambling, it can be work, because you have people that are addicted to work. And nowadays, more and more, social networks. You have many people that are being addicted to social networks. And children who have a parent with this addiction, they suffer, and often in silence, especially when they can barely talk, or if they talk, they don't know how to express themselves, which it was my case. The fact that this is a common situation does not make it acceptable, and doesn't make it has less impact mentally on the children. Unfortunately, we just don't really react anymore to this kind of situations. It's too normal. That is very bad. And what surprised me last year is that I really thought that this trauma was a long time gone, that I already overcome this for a long time, because I do not blame, not even close, my parents for the past in any way. I understand what happened. I believe that people do the best they can with the best that they know at any time in life, and sometimes there are almost unbearable situations, and yeah, we all do the best that we can, and not only that, I was a very loved child, very, very loved. I had so much love in my life, so I don't feel anger at all. I don't really felt sadness. And yeah, I never thought, but the reality is that behind the compassion that I really had from my parents, there was a lot of pain, really a lot of pain, and it was repressed pain. But it was hidden. So, how did I address this? At the time I was working with a therapist, and he is specialized in inner child. And basically, in the beginning, he was digging around my past, see what it could be, what was hidden inside me. And he started confronting me with a lot of questions. And I'm a person that can be very quiet and not tell what I really feel. So, and I'm also very rational. So I already have the story. It was things that happened more than 40 years ago. And I have that perspective. And I had feelings that I was not even aware of it. So the way that it was accessed, it was with a lot of questions where I didn't have time to think about my answer. It was like that game that you make a question and you give 2 seconds to a person to give the first word. So it was very similar. And then I was forced to retell the situation, to describe the situation, but by the point of view of a child. So I couldn't in any way justify my parents' actions in any way, because that's the point. It's our inner child, our pain at that moment, and we need to remember what we truly felt. And it's very difficult for us to retell something from a child perspective when that childhood was more than 40 years ago, because a child doesn't understand what is a life circumstance, doesn't understand why a parent is more aggressive with her. The child only knows purity. I truly believe, but this is a personal belief, that we are beings of love, that our nature is kindness and love. And along life, we are confronted with so many situations that cause us pain and frustration that we get more and more disconnected from ourselves. But as a child, you are still very connected with yourself. So you really don't know what it is, irritation, violence, frustration. And when you are confronted with that, the pain is very big. So I had to go to that place where there was no justification, where by the eyes of the child there was no justification of what was happening to me. I didn't understand why it was happening to me, something like that. And it was hard, and I remember that I cried a lot, several weeks, because I had to dig in this quite a few times. It was really very rooted inside me. And what I also did was focus in the pain that I was feeling, the physical pain, because I understand that more and more the emotional pain is really associated with our physical part. So I had to concentrate in the heart that was hurting, the throat that I couldn't breathe, for instance, or the comfort that comes from inside of your gut. And so I not only was crying the pain, the sadness that I was feeling, but also concentrating the physical pain, because it's that pain that you have to feel is the physical one. I truly believe that our body somehow, I don't know how, stores physically the emotions that we go through during life. I also wrote several letters to my father and my mother, telling them what they made me feel, how I felt, that let my feelings go out, just take it out of my chest. I never delivered those letters because my father is dead and my mother doesn't need this at all. She's a lovely lady, and the past is the past. It was really just for me to put it out of my chest. And I'm in very peace with my mom. I'm quite okay with my mom. And finally, the pain went away. And now I look back, and it was just another event in my life. It's no special. It's not special at all. It's just something that happened to me. And the only reason that I'm talking about it is because I need an example, and it was something that was recent. I did this process so I could use as an example for this video, because other way the memory is fading, it's not relevant. It was something that happened, it's gone. I had many things happening in my life, so it's just another thing. And that's why I really believe that childhood pain must be healed. And right now, I'm actually trying to dig again, even deeper, in other things that happened to me, because the sense of freedom after you heal is so big, is so rewarding. You feel so well that what I really want is to heal as much as possible from my past, because I will have a much better present and future, because it's really it's a relief. It gives you freedom. It disappears. And what was really upset me last year and start all this process, right now it doesn't really affect me, because the pain, the true pain that was that event in my life, is gone. So now this kind of situations like it presented doesn't affect me. It's indifferent, and that is really a lot of freedom. So I hope that I help and I brought useful information. And if you have any question, please leave in the comments and I will try to address it in future videos. You can also send me an email to bipolarcharts2023@gmail.com. And until next video.